Got debt? Spendebt is a tool that helps you pay off debt every time you swipe your debit card. Take control of your financial future in 3 easy steps. Visit Spendebt.com to link your bank and debt accounts. Set your micropayment amount to be added to each debit transaction and start spending. As you make everyday purchases, micropayments will automatically be sent to your Spendebt account and paid to your debt account at the end of the month. These aren't roundup payments. These are micropayment amounts you set. Pay off debt every time you swipe. Try Spendebt free for 30 days by visiting Spendebt.com or downloading the Spendebt app.
Welcome to another episode of What's the Hype podcast.
Building and an interception, and you're not down by 10 anymore. Andre Howe, his second interception.
To get you the information that you need to start your own business and do your own thing.
And I felt like it gave me a good perspective.
I was not the first person to go through what I went through.
All right, welcome to another episode of What's the Hype podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Pope, a.k.a. The Pod Disciple.
And I'm your host, co-host, Andre Howe.
And today we're excited, man. We got, one of my favorite guys that I've had the pleasure to have an encounter with, the pleasure to work alongside. One of the nicest guys that you can possibly have an opportunity to meet and speak with. Rice alum, 6-year NFL vet, former 6th-round draft pick of the Houston Texans, and Christian Covington. Welcome to the podcast.
Man, I appreciate y'all for having me. I really do.
Man, we honored. It's our honor. We're honored to have you here, man. We appreciate you coming on. First of all, man, we just want to check on you and see how you're doing, how you're holding up during this time. How's everything going with the family?
Man, at the end of the day, God is good, but, it is crazy. Man, there's a lot of things. You name it, we're dealing with everything. But, hey, at the end of the day, man, I'm healthy. I'm with my family. I'm still able to train and grind away to, get ready for the season. So, hey, all is good.
Absolutely, man. You can't, it's a part, it's something that we ain't never seen before. But we're resilient people, so we going to figure out how to make it happen, man. So our podcast, man, again, we're honored to have you on. Our podcast is really about helping those that are coming after us kind of understand a little bit about the experience of those that have made it to the top and that have been able to navigate, the highest level, so that we can be able to provide some insight for those that are coming behind you. So with no further ado, man, what we like to do, we like to just start from the beginning. Tell us where you're from and what it was like growing up there.
Man, no worries with that at all. No, man, born and raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. For those that don't really know, man, my journey's been unconventional, but a blessing all the same. Honestly, I knew this is something I want. I've been wanting to play football for the longest time, ever since I could remember, and it started at a very young age. Obviously, me being blessed to have the father I had, with his influence, with his coaching, with his mentoring. I fell in love with this game really early, and for me, it was interesting, obviously, because of the dynamics of Canada versus the U.S. Completely different in so many regards, especially when it comes to the world of sports. So my understanding of football was a little bit different. My take on how big of a game it truly was vastly different from how it is accepted and practiced down here. But I'm thankful for where I got to start. Obviously, coming from a country like Canada where the sport is not as big. I'm truly able, once I was able to come down south, cross the border, actually do take my be able to fulfill my dreams down the States. I was able to truly see how big this sport was and how much it truly means to so many people around this country and really around the world. So blessed and fortunate, man, really am.
When you start playing sports, who put you in the game and who inspired you to play?
It was really sports in general was just pushed on us by both my parents. That was huge for us to be able to, my dad was an athlete. He did everything. He was he started off as a wrestler. He was a swimmer. He did all that before he was a football player. So that was a huge influence right there. My mom was athletic. My mom was a field hockey player, and she was in ballet in Canada when she was growing up. So that was huge again. So sports has always been a part of my life, my sister's lives. So it was pushed at a young age, very young age. But obviously, the actual sport of football, a lot of people don't know this. I had to beg my parents to play.
Really?
My parents would not let me. They wouldn't. I didn't start playing football. I didn't start playing organized football until the 8th grade. And a lot of guys, like a lot of my classmates, a lot of my friends growing up, they were all playing pee-wee. They were playing everything, and I'm just begging and crying and begging. But my father, him being, him having, a history in this game, he knew exactly what territory I was going to be embarking on. He knew the stress it was going to be, not only physically but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So he wanted to just make sure that I was fully prepared to, ready myself for what this journey was going to entail, really. So I played everything though. I mean, I'm thankful that I had my history of basketball, wrestling, track and field. Track and field was huge in my family. My sisters both got scholarships they both got scholarships to play respectively at University of Georgia and Cornell University. So sports has been huge. But yeah, once football started for me, once I was given the green light by my parents, my mom was a real catalyst and pushing me. But it wasn't only my father. My dad was my coach, but my mom, she was like, if she knew I wasn't playing up to my potential, or she saw me slacking, she was the one that brought down the hammer. So I appreciate it for that.
Wow, that's super surprising, because a lot of times we know dads in most cases are the ones that really ride and really be on top of the guys. So that's kind of interesting to have that dynamic, because your dad being who he was and who he is, and your mom kind of supporting that, and on the back end kind of helping to bring you and push you in a way. That's definitely surprising. So we want to kind of dive into getting into high school. Now, I know you have an interesting story, so I want you to be able to tell us, obviously your dad being your coach, how was that dynamic on top of the type of school you went to as well. So tell us a little bit about your high school experience.
Man, I went to Vancouver College prep, and I actually went there starting kindergarten. So I was in the same school. I was in the same prep school from kindergarten till my senior year. So I was at the same school for 13 years. Catholic, all boys school. Yes, I know, it's very challenging. Yeah, man. My first experience with co-ed was at Rice. So it was definitely took me some getting used to. But no, it was for me it was actually kind of easy, just because the environment that I had at home, it was a loving environment. It was it was an open environment for us to be able to freely talk as a family. There was always a sense of respect that was to be had with our parents, but there wasn't a sense of fear where it's just like you keep everything bottled in. It's like it was a free-flowing, open conversation type of home, which I love. So it kind of really just made life easy for me, and especially once football kind of got going for me, to have my dad as my coach, to for him to start me weightlifting in the garage with him at an early age, for us both to break down film together, for us to study our opponents together. He got me going on that real early. So I didn't really. I mean, you could say I had a different childhood, because I was really young. I didn't going into my senior year. I was only 16 years old. So I started. My parents put me in school really early, and I didn't really go out. I had friends, but I didn't really socialize. For me, and my dad was he was my coach, and he was my ride home. So my parents knew where I was at all times. And I embraced that. Honestly, it was my norm. It was the normalcy that I embraced, being an athlete, because they always told me growing up that, if you want to earn something, you want to get something in life, you have to sacrifice for it. And I literally just saw that as, this is just a part of, the steps that I'm going to have to take in order to get what I want to achieve. Mm-hmm. I will say one little story. I know the only time I really got to, have fun, so to speak. Again, I say fun with the quotations. I remember, obviously I started getting older. I finally turned 17. My senior, halfway through my senior, I turned 17 halfway through my senior year football season. And I was kind of like, you know what, my teammates and my classmates are kind of bugging me. It's like, hey man, bro, you haven't been with us out at all. You got to come to, like, we're having a party. There's gonna be a high school party. And I'm just like, hey, I don't know, man. Y'all might just have fun. We got, we're about to be going to, we're getting ready for the playoffs at this point. And I remember, you know what, I couldn't leave my mind. I went home and I'm just like, hey, so I got invited to this one little party that's about to get set up. It's kind of like it's going to be like a before Christmas break kind of deal. I'm like, I was talking to my parents like, hey, can I go to this thing? And they were just like, yeah. And I'm like, really, I can? And they're like, yeah, of course. I'm like, cool. Thank you. I'll be home. Hey, I already know who I'm going with. I'm gonna make sure I'm home by this time. Like, don't you worry. If anything, it's like, no, there's one condition. I'm like, okay, name it. You got to win a state championship.
Wow.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. So we were state champs that year, and
Nice.
I fought my hardest. Everybody, I fought to win, win something for my team. But hey, I was fighting for some freedom that year.
That's pretty interesting, man, because I think that eliminated – I mean, that structure, some people would maybe fight against it, but I think that kind of prevented you from a lot of pitfalls that some of the, high school individuals run into, especially the athletes. We kind of find ourselves in some things that we shouldn't be in. So I think that kind of prevented you from kind of having those pitfalls. So, man, I'm on that mindset now, having a son, that if he so chooses to kind of follow that pattern, that I'll be definitely involved and definitely trying to help him, prevent him from following some of those pitfalls that I've experienced myself.
Yeah, so talk to us about your recruiting process, man. How did that go? How did Rice find y'all in Canada?
Really, man, recruiting's hard, man. I came in, as I said, man, I was really young going into my senior year, so I was really late to the game. I didn't start really knowing about, the whole NCAA recruiting process. I really didn't know how. All I knew is, okay, you play, you get tape, and then I guess put it on YouTube. Like, we didn't have max preps, we didn't have all these things that guys have now. Twitter wasn't as big back then when we were in high school, so you just either had to know people, or you, especially in Canada, you really had to know some people. And for me, I went to a couple camps the summer before my senior year. I went to a couple Pac-12 schools to go see what I could do, but I kind of knew I was late to the game when all of a sudden I'm going there as an upcoming senior, and all these guys I'm there with are like sophomores and juniors. I'm just like, oh snap! I think I'm late right now. So it was a little difficult, but at the same time, I knew that I had full faith in I trust in the process. I trusted in God with everything, honestly, because I knew what I had as I knew what I had technique wise. I knew what I had from a playing ability, and I knew I just was gonna let my tape speak for itself. Obviously, once the season started going on, I was able to finally get some film out, get some word out to the schools that I attended their camps during the summer, and it spread a little bit through there. My mom and my sisters were really big on my recruiting. Actually, my sisters would come to every home game and record on our little home video recorder. My mom, she was able to send it out to some people. We had some connections down at Rice. One of the coaches there played football with my father in the CFL, so that was a connection that we had. And we sent him some tape down, and once we got some, it was first supposed to be a gray shirt, but then once they got the rest of my film, the second half of my year, once I was actually truly able to show them what I could do, they're like, okay, now we're gonna bring him down for a visit. We're gonna offer him. I'm like, ooh, thank God, because I really want to go Div 1, man. That's been the dream, and for me, it wasn't a matter of I didn't care, I didn't whether it be a Power 5 conference type of school. It didn't matter to me, man. I wanted to come down to the U.S. I wanted to play Division I football because I wanted to play amongst the best of the best, because I know in order to get to where I wanted to go, that's exactly who I had to go against.
So with that being said, were there any other runners up, any other schools in the contention, or it was pretty much just kind of sold and focused on Rice?
Yeah, well, yeah, I could once I went down for my visit to Rice, I committed to them right there. Arizona State came in late, and I had another offer. I only had two Div 1 offers. Ended up being Rice and Arizona State, and then Eastern Washington. They were recruiting me early in my high school career, actually. But then all of a sudden, I know I was supposed to go to a visit. It was funny. I was supposed to go to a visit in Arizona State. But I had some really bad. I hate flying. Dre knows this. He see me. he see me on our away games in Houston, man. I hate flying. I hate turbulence. And all of a sudden, I went through something terrible going to Cheney, Washington, and then I went through another terrible trip, terrible turbulence, and it was just not my time to fly. And I went through some terrible nonsense going to Houston and back to Canada. They wanted to fly me out. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I'm a man of my word. I know where I want to go to school. I'm a man of my word. I committed to them. I'm going to honor that. But I appreciated them for the offer, though.
So let's talk about a little bit about coming from Canada to Houston. So you decided to choose Rice University. Yep. What was the biggest adjustment coming from Canada, now coming to Houston, a football state, a rich university like Rice, and just history and things like that? Tell us about that adjustment.
Oh, the heat.
Oh, definitely.
Bruh, oh my goodness. All right, put it this way, man. I don't remember my true freshman year. I don't remember summer workouts. I don't remember the conditioning program. I don't remember training camp my freshman year. It's not from no hits to the head. It's from the heat. Like it was, I want to say, for me, it was huge going to play Division I. But to go to Texas of all places, that was another monster in itself. And really, before that time, the only experience and really knowledge of Texas football that I had really was when Friday Night Lights came out. I remember when that movie came out, it was mandatory for us in high school to watch it as a team, during training camp and stuff like that. And I remember the first time watching it, I was just like, yo, this is what they do in high school down there. And I was blown away. I'm just like, wow, it's completely different. The way that they train, the way that they approach this game, it is something that I just really couldn't look away. And I was terrified at the same time, but it's just like, I loved it though. I'm just like, man, I would love to be in a situation like that, to actually like try to push myself to see where I could go in an environment like that. And sure enough, making my way down all the way to Houston. I remember my first year there in 2011, Houston was going through a drought at that time. And I remember the one vivid thing I remember during training camp my freshman year was we're doing, like, back then they were still able to do 2-a-days and all that stuff. And the heat index on the field in Rice Stadium, concrete stadium, it hit 142.
Wow.
And basically every 3 periods we had to, like, the team had to break and go underneath tents. I'm just like, and in the back of my mind, I'm just like, yo, where did I choose to go to school? Because this is like, we're not even playing games yet. This is just practice. And I redshirted my freshman year, but that was a big thing, because I knew once I was actually able to, get adjusted to the heat, get adjusted to the speed of the game, get that playbook, into my system. Really, I was nervous. Obviously, I got a lot to prove. I'm the Canadian kid on the team that I really, there were 2 other Canadians on the team at the time. So, they were good with, like, they were my brothers on the team that kind of like, initiated me in a little bit easier than a lot of these other freshmen. But at the same time, I knew I had to prove myself. I'm the new Canadian, and I'm definitely I'm a long way from home. But once I was able to finally, like, show this team, what I was able to do on the field, things changed. So I was happy for that.
Talk about your team success, man, and your success, at Rice. How you kind of transition from college from high school to college? How was that transition?
Really, man, what saved me was the weight room, man. Because at the end of the day, if you can out hit your opponent, if you can outlast them, especially that's the one advantage that we tried to take. That's the one thing that we really tried to take advantage of in college. You know, we didn't have an indoor facility, we didn't have an indoor stadium when we played teams, especially like early in the season. It's like no, like we know how to handle this environment, we know how to handle this heat. Can y'all? So I feel like once, you know, after I redshirted my freshman year. You know, we had a solid group. We had a good group of guys that knew, you know, put a lot of work in. You know, Rice at that time had a history of, you know, we went through a couple of losing seasons in a row, but you could just tell, you know, with that senior leadership that we had with the upperclassmen, you know, something was about to happen. We all could feel it. And we had a lot of young talent, my freshman class that came in, they were really young and talented guys who knew how to play football at the end of the day, like technique aside, and you know, playbook, like, you know, the schemes aside, like these guys were just straight up athletes, which was kind of nice to see at a school like Rice. And so, you know, we took advantage really of the environment, the situation, that little chip on our shoulder, knowing that, you know, not a lot of teams expected much out of us whenever they played us. And really we use that to our advantage because, you know, ever since once I started playing that year, you know, we finally started having some success. We finished 6-6 my first year, went to our first bowl game in a couple of years and won the bowl game. You know, we took the next year, we went 10-3, won a conference championship. The next year after that, we went to another bowl game. So, you know, in that 3-year span that I was starting, it was crazy. Like we had about 10 guys go to the NFL. Like
some of those guys.
Oh man, shoot! It was myself. It was Luke Wilson. You know, my brother, my other Canadian, Vance McDonald. You know, my boy for the Steelers. Boswell, kicker for the Steelers. My boy Bryce, my boy now on Denver. Bryce Callahan. We had Jordan Taylor. We had Philip Gaines. We had. Shoot, I know there's a couple. I feel bad now. There's a couple more guys. Oh yeah, my boy Emmanuel Ellerby with the Seahawks. Like I'm like that. We were all on the same team at one point. So.
And see, I joined Rice. Rice was my first sport job when I moved to Texas. And in 2014, I was there and you were there, but I was just hearing all these names, and I'm like, man, Rice. I was familiar with Rice in the past, a little bit, but just kind of hearing all the different names that were on these teams and that was getting NFL attention and opportunities. I was like, man, wow, this is pretty cool. I mean, it was like a new gem that I discovered. You know what I mean? A new jewel that I discovered. But yeah, you were there when I was there, man. I like to ask guys, while in college, or was there a time while you were in college that you discovered, like, that you were exposed to the business of sports? Now, some guys get coaching changes and stuff like that. That wasn't necessarily your case. But was it any moment in time that you realized that, like, this sports thing is really a business?
A couple times, yes. I feel like, you know, there were a lot of times when you kind of notice how much these guys, you know, struggled when it came to the financial side of things, and, you know, not having our stipend money ready, not having our, you know, our summer checks ready. You know, we experienced that a lot of times. You know, thankfully I was able to stay on campus. I chose to stay on campus my entire time. I didn't move off campus because I didn't have a car. My parents really kind of wanted me, since I was so far away from home, they wanted me to be able to be in a, you know, centralized location that I was, you know, close to everything, close to my school, close to practice, close to the facilities and everything like that. So I trust my parents. They went to college before me, and I was just like, you know what, I trust you. I'm gonna go down that road. But you kind of see it with regards to the lack of funds. You know, whenever, you know, guys, you know, there were times, like, you know, you see a lot of times where it's just like guys will go hungry, you know, just because of the fact that it's just like, it's checks are late this week, or, you know, it's going to be limited to this month, but next year we'll make up for it next month and stuff like that, where it's just like, it's kind of a shame, man, because it's just like you see so many guys, you know, put their life on the line, really, playing this sport, and, you know, all for the sake of a scholarship, which is, don't get me wrong, man, like I'm thankful for my education, absolutely, but it's like, what you have to do to like earn it and keep earning it every single year. I felt bad for a lot of guys that, you know, with what they had to do and what they had to sacrifice, myself included. It's just, it's a shame. And you kind of see the direction that a lot of schools might be going, you know, in the near future now. So I hope these guys, I really hope these players get what they deserve, honestly, because, hey man, it's, as you said, it's a business.
Yeah.
And it's only going to continue to be a business.
Yeah, they've been able to get away with that system for quite a long time and not, you know, compensating guys, especially at the bigger levels where guys that schools are making so much money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I went to Rice and we felt that. Like, what I don't even want to know what it's like. You know, a Power 5 school. You know, where they're just bringing in the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cuz I see you decided to come out as a junior, man. What went into that decision? Like, what made you come out as a junior?
A couple reasons actually. So, first reason was my injury. So I got hurt. Going into my redshirt junior year. Halfway through the season, I dislocated my kneecap. It required surgery, but it was an injury that I knew I was going to fully recover from. But at that point, I felt truly that if I was to come back the next year, I was really going to have a target on my back. A lot of guys on the team had really moved on. A lot of guys on that defensive anchor were starting to move on with graduation and with you know, getting looked at from the league too. And so I felt like the best bet for me, honestly, with what I've done so far, you know, I felt like I had with what I did, the film that I produced in 3 years playing, I felt like I did enough, honestly, to, you know, showcase myself and showcase my talents. And I just truly felt like it was, you know, it was through a lot of prayer, through a lot of conversation with my family. You know, we felt like it was, you know, it was time to move on. I made the most of everything that, you know, was given to me, and I want to be able to now take that next step into, you know, truly achieving my dream that I've been working on since, you know, the 8th grade. So it was a hard decision.
Now, were you starting to hear things about a possibility of the NFL and, you know, a pretty much a strong shot at it? Was that kind of some of the stuff that you started to hear?
Yeah, I started hearing that my second year playing. My redshirt sophomore year, I started hearing that, and that kind of started getting the gears turning in my head. And you know, obviously, I'm a team player. You know, I'm not meaning to say nothing, but the defensive linemen are some of the most unselfish players on, especially interior D linemen. We take up blocks, we eat up everything, we let the linebackers come in free. I'm a team guy. I'm gonna just say that right now. But at the same time, you know, with that being said, I know that, you know, sometimes it's okay to, you know, worry about myself. It's okay to worry about, you know, what's gonna take place in my life, what's gonna help me with my next step in my life to be able to, you know, secure my future, especially in a sport, you know, a sport like football. So it was a hard decision. It really was. But no, man, it turned out to be all right.
So let's talk about you deciding to make that decision. Let's talk about your pre-draft experience. Were you invited to the combine? You know, what that experience was like leading up to the draft?
Oh, it was surreal. Because once I left the Rice environment, the home environment of, you know, what it's like to be a college athlete, student athlete, you kind of get, you know, thrust into like the real world of, you know, that prep for the next level. So it was a little eye-opening. Absolutely. Yes, I was invited to the combine. I was able to, you know, started my combine training and my rehab really from my surgery. It was an injury that they said I was going to be able to recover in, and, you know, they said I'd be full go in 5 to 6 months, and I was actually full go in 2. Wow. So I was there. Thank God for that healing, that speedy recovery. Honestly, I got the invite to the combine, but I never got to participate. You know, I got my trainers advised me against it. I kind of wish I still, to this day, man, I wish I could have, man, because it's like, you know, you even those little things as a kid, you dream about getting the invite, running your 40, doing everything right at Indy. You know, that's something right there. So I mean, it was, you know, again, it was a blessing to get the invite. It was a blessing, obviously, to, you know, talk to teams and show them who I was, you know, from a personal level. But yeah, that's a little thing. I wish, you know what, if I never go against doctor's orders, but I wish I did that day.
So with that experience and kind of going through that process, can you kind of tell me maybe what some of the teams that you that showed a lot of interest throughout this process, and maybe where you thought you could possibly land because of them want to talk to you, reaching out to you. Just tell me where did you thought you had the best possibility of landing?
Yeah, no, really my thoughts going into it were, we had the pre-draft coaching, we had like the interview, obviously interview coaching, Wonderlic testing, all that stuff, and I knew from myself, I knew who I was. There wasn't nothing fake about me. There wasn't nothing to hide. Like I never got into trouble. So it's like, for me, it was just like, this is gonna be cake, honestly, because I literally just have to put my best foot forward, which is me. It was a little difficult though, because you realize, like, once you step into that world where you're this close to the next step, you do realize it is a job interview. So everything that you do, every word you say, every answer you give, they're marking it down. They're right. They're making their list. They're making sure you fit the mold of what they want, in a player that they're about to invest in with a draft pick. So it was a little. Once it started inching a little bit more towards pro day and obviously towards the draft, it started picking up a little bit. You started to see, like, okay, this isn't just, it's a game. It's a game that I truly love. It's a game that we all love. We wouldn't have played this game if we didn't have that love in our heart for it. But then you start seeing, like, the business side of it. Not so much, a little glimpse of the business side of, like, the job aspect, the professional aspect, like it's like you don't mess up, or like, there's 3 strikes and you're out. It's like, sometimes it's 3 strikes, sometimes it's 1 and done. You start seeing that professional side of, like, where every action that you have, be aware of it, because it will, be counted against you, whether good or bad. And so actually, I started noticing that really, my first workout was before my pro day, and it was with the Texans. So that was kind of a nice little entry into what it was gonna potentially be like with the Texans. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, man, you're right about the combine, bro. Like, that was an experience, bro. It was a real experience. Going through all that stuff, man, it was tough.
They test you mentally, they test you psychologically. It's like, that's why I kind of wanted to be able to, like, just participate, because it's like, okay, it's like they purposely are having you interview till 12 o'clock midnight, even 12 o'clock 1 a.m. and they're waking you up at 4 a.m. I'm just like, half the time I'm just like, man, they trying to break you, but at the same time it's like, okay, good. Like, I want to show you that's why I'm Dre, man. That's why I'm so upset. It's like, I wanted to show them, like, you doing all this, and I'm still gonna perform for you. But needless to say, it's all good. I saved it for the pro day. So
yeah, that's what's up. I see you. You got drafted in the 6th round. What was your mindset going to training camp?
Man, shoot, Dre, you know this, man. We both picked 216.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the feeling, man. Man, you never forget your number. You never forget your number, man. And I took that. I had such a chip on my shoulder. It wasn't even funny, man, because my whole life I really accepted the role of underdog. Like, I'm a nice kid that is really nice. Like, I'm a nice kid growing up in Canada. I'm not gonna make it on the football field. Yes, I did. Oh, I'm a Canadian football player. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it Div 1. I did. Are you okay, you made it Div 1. You're not gonna be a starter. Yes, I did. You're not gonna be considered. You're not gonna be considered a draft pick. Got drafted. You're not gonna make the team. You're a late round draft pick. I did. It's that mindset that I embrace everything. I embrace every single thing that's coming at me, because I haven't been stopped since. I haven't been stopped yet, because I know it's not, for me. My main emphasis with this whole thing is knowing that it's not by my power but by His. Thank God. I truly thank God that my parents are who they are with how they raised me. Knowing that I have God by my side. If I have Him again with me, who can stand against me? That's the big thing with me, and that's really been a main motivator for me, knowing that, like, I'm It doesn't matter what you put in front of me. It doesn't matter what type of test I have to go through. It doesn't matter how big the playbook is that I have to learn. I'm gonna accept this challenge, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that you see me for what I am, and that's a ball player. And that was really my mindset going into my rookie year. I love the Texans growing up. We used to obviously when I was at Rice, we would practice in the indoor. We would practice in the bubble all the time. Whenever it was thundering at Rice and we couldn't, practice outside. I love being around them. I love being around the facility, and to finally, be able to step on that turf and step in the bubble and step in the building, knowing like I'm a Texan now. No, I took it personally. I didn't want to lose that.
So it's safe to say that you were pleased to remain here in Houston. It was safe to say.
Absolutely.
Getting drafted there. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about how you felt as once you made the team as being a part of a D-line with the names of like a JJ and a Jadeveon Clowney. Kind of, what was that? What was your thought process when you kind of realized that you were going to be?
It was huge. I mean, my dad reminded me that the day I got drafted, once I got off that phone call, once the house started like dying down, he took me aside and he's just like, you do know this D-line that you're about to go on to, right? That's the first thing he mentioned. Like, that's the first thing my dad told me. Like, you do know that you're going to have to work and you have to let them and prove to them that you're going to belong in that room, right? I knew literally the moment I got drafted, it's like, okay, I got JJ. Shoot, I got Jadeveon. Shoot, I got Vince Wilfork. You know what I mean? I got there's a lot of guys in this. There's a lot of guys in this room. There's a lot of guys on this defense. And I'm going to have to do whatever it takes to be able to let them know that, yeah, I may be a rookie. I may be at a Rice. I may be from Canada, but you can trust me. You can hold me. I'm going to be accountable for every single action on and off that field. And, I took that, I took it with a great sense of pride, knowing that I didn't want to, if you enter into a room and enter onto a team that's, full of greats, and, soon to be Hall of Famers, you want to do whatever it takes to make sure you don't let them down. Those are your brothers on and off the field, man. You want to do whatever it takes within your power to make them, let them know, like, no matter what, I'm going to be, like, you can count on me. No matter the situation, no matter the game that we play, no matter what the case may be.
Okay, cool. Talk about your rookie experience. And did you play early? And I know for me, man, my rookie year, it started off kind of tough, man, because I guess playing DB probably a little bit harder than playing D-line because you got way more to do.
Yeah.
But I was just confused at some point, man. Like, it was going so fast for me, bro, and it was tough, man. So tell me about your experience.
Yeah. So no, Dre, you hit it around the nail, man. Every level that you go to, it just gets faster and faster and faster. Not only does the playbook get a lot more, not only do you have to think faster and think on the fly with regards to every single thing that's going on. You're going against faster guys. You're going against stronger guys. You're a kid. You literally, as a rookie, you're a kid going against grown men who have families, who got wives, who have kids, and who have to be able to provide the meals on the table for them every single day. So you get introduced to the situation at hand really quickly. And my rookie year, that training camp was one of the most intense I've ever been in my life. And I'm truly thankful for that, because it helped me mentally prepare myself for the training camps in the future after that. But yeah, my rookie year, man, I'm telling you, it was really the same. I was able to. I played early, but it was kind of sparingly at the beginning. I remember. Shoot, man, my first ever play, I played. I think you remember, it was when we were playing. We played Chicago, and we were all out. It was all the white out and everything like that. And I forget. I think we might have lost that game. Honestly, I think we started the season 0-1. But like, my first play ever was the kneel down. Was the last play of the game. Coach put me in. I'm like, okay. Like, they literally, man, I was shocked too, because I'm just like, I was mentally ready. I was so hyped for that game. But they literally played JJ, Wilfork, and Jared Crick all game. And I'm like, those three guys, they played them the entire game. I'm just like, all right, first of all, I commend you for that, because I don't know how you have the lung capacity and the stamina to be able to play a whole game, just three guys. But after that, but the second emotion, I was feeling like, yo, they really only played 3 guys the whole game. What am I gonna play? So it was humbling, honestly. Like that was my first regular season game, man. I was out there and Chicago took a knee. I'm just like, okay. But obviously, once I was able to I was on the field a little bit more, able to prove myself a little bit more, game by game. My reps started to only increase. And you already know that once you actually are out on the field, that's when you get that comfortability, knowing that you can adjust to the speed, adjust to these guys you're going against. You only get more comfortable. You only get better as you progress with the amount of as the amount of snaps increase. So that really was the case from my rookie year to the second year to my third year and onwards, man. It only got for me. I only felt better and better as the years went on.
And as you mentioned that too, like you said, you were able to get better. You became a mainstay on that defensive line. There was a lot of guys came in and out during that time, but you were consistent. You were a mainstay. So let's talk about when it came up to that opportunity of contract talks. So when it was time to renew, talk about that and how you thought it would play out, and ultimately what ended up happening.
Yeah, man. Yeah, touchy subject. It was going into my fourth year. It was going into my last year of my contract, and I was my whole mindset was I want to just do whatever it takes to help this team win, and but at the same time I knew I was getting better every year. I knew this defense inside and out. I knew the playbook. And I knew that I was just ready. I was really just like on set to have a breakout year. That's how I truly felt. I know my third year, I was starting to get back into my own. And then I tore my bicep in 2017 against the Seahawks. So that kind of crushed me. But I knew, like, look, it could have been worse. At the end of the day, yeah, we all go through injuries. We all go through setbacks. And mine just happened to be a little 3-month setback. So I don't see that as negative at all. I just see that as I lost some games. That's all. I lost playing some games. That's it. So no, I was really I came back hard that my fourth year, man. I came back really hard. I trained hard all that off season. I was I was ready to play. I was ready to earn my keep and earn everything. And we got into contract talks during training camp. My fourth year when we were in Greenbrier. That's when I got to sit down and they wanted to talk to me and they wanted to we're gonna hash out an extension with my agent. I'm just like, I was excited, man, because I was going in my fourth year with Houston, but I was going into my 8th year in the city of Houston. Houston truly became my home away from home. I bought a house out here. My family moved. Both my parents are retired, and they moved to Houston to live with me. They're still my roommates to this day. They never missed a home game when I played in Houston. And it really became a second home for me. And so I had no intention of ever leaving. I had no intent. I wanted to be able to stay in Houston for as long as possible. But at the same time, I knew my worth, and at the same time, I knew that I wanted to be able to be somewhat financially stable. With that being said, and going into with the contract talks, the numbers weren't there. And that's really when the business side of football kind of took over. When you kind of see, like, no matter what you do, no matter how nice a guy you are, no matter what you do for the community outreach, no matter what you stand for, at the end of the day, business is business, and I get it. I really do. We kind of hit a stalemate, and I kind of had I was under the inclination that I was going to respectfully just play out my contract to let them know, like, I wanted to be able to prove. I basically wanted to prove myself my last year. I wanted to prove myself my last year on my contract. To basically, I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what I'm gonna do this season. I want to play for my contract, and that's what I thought that was the inclination that we were going towards. I had my best year of my career. I think I ended up having had 4 sacks that year. And then once free agency came about. Yeah, nothing. So you really see. I mean, it's a business, man. It is what it is. I have no hard feelings. I understand I understand the game, man. It's fine. At the end of the day, I know God's got me with whatever direction I go into, And that's when that's when I knew like the new direction that he was taking me was going up I-45. So
Yeah. So talking about Dallas, man. So how was the signing with them? And like, was it what you expected? And like, was it all like the hype that they get? You know what I mean? The Cowboys.
Yeah,
all the
man.
hype.
It was. I mean, it was hype. It was everything I expected and everything I didn't expect. I'm blessed, man. At the end of the day, man, to be able to continue my career, that's all I care about at this point. I want to be able to, I know what I'm capable of. I know what my film says about me. I know what my character says about me as a player on and off of this field. And I'm just gonna, I'm gonna continue to just improve on that and then continue to better myself as a player. Until something pops off. Honestly, it doesn't matter for me. I want to be able to. I just want to be able to play this game for as long as possible. That's my mindset. For this, I was truly, honestly blessed, man. Not only to have my career, not only to have my career continue, but to not only and also stay in the state of Texas and only literally move 4 hours north. But yeah, it's kind of nice being a Cowboy, man. Dallas, they know how to do things in Frisco. It was a little, signing there, it was a blessing, man. To tell my grandkids one day that your grandpappy was a Dallas Cowboy. I mean, that's gonna be a nice story to tell them, honestly.
And when we hear about all the bells and whistles that kind of comes with that team and all the attention, and you playing with you had the opportunity to play with some great superstars in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But was the light brighter in Dallas just with obviously you have the Dax and you have the Zekes and you have Jalen and all those guys. Like, how was that in the sense of just from the overall pressure? You had pressure when you was in Houston from the Houston fans.
Absolutely.
But Dallas worldwide, like they just,
Yeah, you hit it right on the nail there, man. You kind of just take you take the spotlight and shine it on a team that not only do you have the city looking at you, not only do you have the country looking at you. I mean, the Cowboys franchise, man, you literally have the world looking at you. It's true what they say. Like you truly kind of have to be careful with everything you do because all eyes are open, all ears are listening, and the spotlight is truly on you, and it can be on you at any time, any given day. It was eye-opening, man. In comparison to my time at Houston, don't get me wrong, I love my time at Houston. I love everything that was provided for me, everything that was given to me, everything that I earned. It was tremendous. Houston is an amazing organization, amazing city, but Jerry knows how to do a little something up there. Oh man, it's top notch up there, man. It was really nice, and the guys, and as you said, man, having a vast array of these dudes that know how to play on both sides of the ball. It was something else to actually experience that talent. It was a different type of team chemistry. Obviously, the difference between 4 years of building up that team camaraderie and that team chemistry on the defensive line to being input into a new one and having to kind of go on the fly, but not really. Different dynamics, different philosophies, different mental processes. Very, very different, but at the same time, it's mind blowing how quickly you can adapt and how quickly you can overcome any weird situation or any weird, obstacle that kind of gets put in your way in order to really have that collective mindset to be able to achieve your goals and get wins on Sundays. So, no, I was blessed. Yeah, blessed with my time up there, man. A lot of good guys in Dallas. Really, a lot of good guys.
Man, y'all was balling last year, man. Like y'all was supposed to be going to the Super Bowl, but what happened in between all that stuff that was going on? Like, what prevented y'all to make it to the Super Bowl?
I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. It's a lot of you go through that with a lot. You can go through that with any team, man. A lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
If this would have happened, then this wouldn't have happened. Or man, if only we could have just did this on that play, it would have been over. And we lost a lot of. Last year we lost a lot of close games, and we lost to a lot of teams that we know we had no business losing to. And that's really the essence of what football in the NFL is really like, man. It's you hear that term and that phrase that the league is set up to be a 500, an 8-8 league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the truth, man. It doesn't matter who you're going against. It doesn't matter your opponent. You have to have that same mindset. You have to have that same approach to every single opponent, because it doesn't matter if the team you're going against is undefeated or winless. They can beat you because they're a team of pros as well, just like you. And I feel like that was, for the amount of talent that we had on that team, man, it was undeniable the amount of talent we had on that team. And I truly feel like it just wasn't our year, honestly. There was a lot of things we could have did better, a lot of things that we could have done to better prepare for, certain games, certain opponents. I feel like we were prepared for every game, but I feel like, there's always those, thoughts in the back of your mind that maybe if we could have did this, studied this a little bit more, there's always going to be those situations. And honestly, I feel like that was just the case. We won some good games, we lost some hard ones.
And I think that's a lot what fans don't too much really understand, that, the league there's pros across the board, right? And on any given Sunday you can lose. And being able to see that firsthand on the sideline, man, it's something special. But at the same time, this league is really set up for people to be 8-8. Now, the talent that Dallas had on that team, I mean, it's
undeniable.
One of the tops. I mean, it takes more than just talent to win championships.
Yeah.
It's a collective thing, from everything from support staff on up to the last player on the roster. So it's a lot of other things that go into that. But with that being said, I like to also talk about and recognize individuals that have been in this league and able to play for some time. The kind of the money lesson that you learned in this league. Now, you coming from Rice, didn't have a car, to being drafted, getting a signing bonus, the most money you probably ever seen in your account, bar none. Kind of tell me a little bit about the money lessons and just kind of what your approach, your mindset was around money.
So obviously with the parents and the upbringing that I had, that was always a discussion that was brought up in the home. I remember, I don't know if you, I know Dre's probably seen that, but I remember when 30 for 30 came out with the documentary Broke, my mom made me watch that about 5 times. And just to make sure I got the message right, just to make sure I got that message loud and clear. My parents are very frugal. They're very financially mindful. They're very smart, and they're very good with their money, and they taught myself and my sisters to be the same way. I love to say it that my sisters are actually more frugal than me, and I love them for that. But yeah, going into the situation knowing that I'd be obviously not just playing this sport for to keep up with my scholarship in college. I'm playing this sport. I'm actually going to be collecting a paycheck while I'm doing it. I knew, I knew that was going to be a little different mindset, and it was going to take a different approach with regards to making sure that I don't lose myself and lose, who I was in the process of being in this new environment, being in this new situation of having more money than I've ever seen in my entire life. And, my family, that's one of the reasons why I had my family come down. Ever since my rookie year, just to be able to keep me on the straight and narrow. My family never really got to see me play that much in college. My dad's into a handful. My dad was able to come down to a handful of games, but my mom only got to see me play one. My sisters only got to see me play one. So being able to have my family with me ever since my rookie year has been, good on all accounts for me. They've been keeping me, they've been keeping me on the straight and narrow with regards to my finances. They've been keeping me on the straight and narrow with regards to my faith, making sure I'm staying on the path of righteousness, with God. So it's a lot of good things that have been happening on all accounts with that. But with the financial thing too, it's funny. Like and again, another story, a little side story too. I didn't have a car. I didn't get a car by rookie year until I want to say week 3. My dad would actually start once I made the team and actually kind of moved to my apartment. Still didn't really have a car. I didn't really want to spend too much. I was thinking about getting a little, Nissan Maxima, save me some money. And my parents were like, no, we're actually gonna do some shopping now. You have to get a car. And it's you have to get yourself a truck or an SUV. It's like, I'll think about it. So my dad would drop me off, man, the first 2 weeks of the regular season. And so that was funny. He was my little Uber driver.
Man,
And so that was that. But it's little things like that you look back on and you just laugh, man. It's awesome. Like I got my first car, week 3, and I literally just sold it last year. So like I've been very mindful of just being able to have that mentality of knowing that what I earn and what I'm able to make during my finite time in this league, I got to make sure that I'm taking advantage of everything and setting myself up, setting myself up and my future generations up, financially, to be able to make sure that they never have to struggle, to make sure that they are able to, be blessed, and then in turn be a blessing to others financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever way that they can help, their fellow, man and woman beside them. So that's really been my mindset, and I keep that to be my mindset with everything, with my finances too.
And I appreciate that, because I've been in the league, and you guys been in the league as well. We've seen individuals coming out the gate, whether drafted or undrafted, spending huge amount of money on cars and all the other things that's not that important, and then they not even be around that long. So understanding that the concept, or even having the family to be around, because even some of the some players, not all players, have that type of family structure where they can come around and help them be on the straight and narrow. Sometimes some family's gonna push you down the wrong way and spend more of your money. You don't have
Absolutely.
So your parents, we definitely got to pay homage and respect to them for them putting you in position to not only to take care of yourself, but also to prepare you to take care of your future generations like that. So, man, I always respect that about you and your family, and I definitely want to pay homage and respect to them for doing that. But that's one of the lessons that I want individuals to get from this interview, about just understanding that you only have a small window to make money in this league. You can't play forever. So being able to take care of your finances and putting yourself in position that you don't have to do things that you don't want to do once your career is over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to your mom and dad, man. That's big time, bro. Having your family come out and like not try to spend your money, that's big time for any athlete, bro. Because I've been through it. I know a lot of guys been through it, man. It's tough to say no, especially to your parents.
Absolutely.
They raise you, you know what I mean?
That's
they
what I'm
raise
saying.
you from a kid. So having to say no to your parents is tough, man. But I was able to do it because I guess I just had to do it. You know what I mean? I had to say no because I didn't want to go broke. I knew some deep down inside I knew I wasn't gonna play football like forever. I wasn't gonna play for 10, 15 years. So I had to make sure I did right with my money. Yeah. But let's talk about your future, man. What's your future plans, man? Like what you want to do once your career is over?
So once my career is over, right now I have 2 options, and kind of they can both coincide with each other. So it's actually kind of nice. So part of me really kind of wants to like stay in this football family, man. Whether it be coaching, whether it be doing something with regards to getting myself into the scouting side of things with the NFL and working my way up to become a general manager. Like that's something I could truly see myself doing. So that's truly if I decide that football is something that I can invest my time in without having to sacrifice my future wife wherever she is, and my future kids, making sure that I can do this and not having to sacrifice their well-being and that precious family time and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, if there's an asterisk, I know I can go down that route anytime. But really, the main thing I want to do is find that I'm getting into real estate right now. So I've been doing a lot of investment real estate with a lot of commercial real estate and residential. So that's my next step. I just want to be able to. I want to be able to do it right, man. Be able to just provide housing. I want to be able to not just try to. You see it too many times, man, with a lot of so-called slumlords and people that are just not going by the books. With a lot of people that truly either can't afford it. They need a break sometime. I truly feel like everybody in life, man, deserves a break every now and then. So I want to be able to do it the right way, especially with if God leads me down a path to be able to do something with low-income housing opportunities, to be able to help out people who need it, who need the most help financially or whatever the case may be. I feel like that's a calling that I want to be able to do, to just help people. Everybody needs to eat, everybody needs housing, everybody needs shelter. Like I feel like why not try to do whatever whatever it's in your, whatever you can in the most of your ability to be able to make sure that you can do that for your fellow man. So that's an area that I want to do. And so with that, and honestly, man, too, that's really a third one too. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for that call, but I really want to do some missionary work. That's something I feel like as a Christian, we're called to be disciples, man. We're called to be able to spread that gospel and to spread the love of Jesus. So, I don't know, man. I feel like it's calling me sooner than later. So that's another thing that's really come up within this past year that's really been on my heart. So, obviously anything financially is cool to be able to do. Obviously, I want to do whatever I can to, not be selfish and set up my as I said in the past, as I just said, be able to set up my future generations to make sure that they don't have to, suffer and struggle. That's huge for me. But at the same time, we already know who all this belongs to, and we can't take it with us once we called home. So I want to make sure I'm just doing whatever I can to, give glory and honor to God on this football field, with my finances, with, if it ends up me being able to, go out with doing missionary work, I'm going to be able to do whatever it takes to do his will.
Man, there you have it, man. You couldn't ask for a better closeout. Anybody that's listening to this podcast, any missionary groups that want to reach out to them and let them know what y'all are doing, please feel free to hit them up. What's your social media, CC?
Oh man, just Christian Covington on Instagram and the Tangible C4 on Twitter. Hit me up, man. I'm open for all opportunities, man. I want to be a blessing to a lot of people.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you coming on, man. We know that whatever you decide to do in the future, you're gonna have success with it, man. We sit back and want to enjoy and watch you do all the great things that you do. And we appreciate you taking your time out to join us, man. We look forward to all the success in the future, man. Thanks again for your time, and thanks for joining us on the podcast.
I appreciate you, my brothers, man. God bless you guys.
Yes, sir.